and I can do that. I will just share my screen. Here we are. Here. And then okay.
Perfect.
Is that coming through okay? Yeah, okay.
So, hello, welcome to this session. We have today with us Catherine Safon, who is going to talk on behalf of Epitech. I would say very old, but we have several years as partners already, and we are very proud of this partnership. Our students usually love the experience at Epitech, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna listen to wonders Catherine is gonna tell us now. Catherine, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. It's really a pleasure to have you virtually here with us. And the floor is yours. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Ricardo. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to talk to the PUC Rio students. So my name is Catherine Safon. I work at Epitech in the International Relations Office, and more specifically with the Americas. So all incoming students coming to Epitech or outgoing students going to PUC Rio, I work with them. And so I'm glad to be able to tell you all about studying at Epitech today. So to start off, Epitech is a information technology school, and it's part of a private group in France called IONIS. It's one of the largest IT schools in France. It has over 6,500 students and 15 campuses in France, and then 5 abroad. So we also have campuses in Brussels, Berlin, Barcelona, and some other campuses as well that are outside of France. And we have a completely different learning approach, which is based on innovation, and it's founded in how companies function, basically. All of our courses are in English, which is great because you don't have to speak. If you don't speak a word of French, it's fine. You can still come here to study. Let me see. I'm going to try to play this video and see what happens. Well, it works, but maybe you don't hear the sound.
Did you check the box of sharing sound before you shared the presentation?
No, I didn't. I always forget to do that. Okay, let's try
You
that
wanna
again.
redo it again? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. No problem.
Okay, this should work.
Yes.
Okay, so that is just a glimpse into everything about Epitech and what makes us special. And I will, there we go, move on to the next thing. So as I said, we have campuses in France and in Europe, and most of our students come to Paris because it's Paris. But we have some students who go to Barcelona, Brussels or Berlin. I would say mostly Barcelona for Brazilian students, because the Brussels and Berlin campuses are for European nationalities only because of their status. but Barcelona and Paris are an option. And you can also go to other campuses if you would like. We have students who go to Toulouse or Montpellier or Nantes, which can be a nice change. It's a little bit more intimate of an experience, and it's not as crazy as Paris, so not as expensive either. So when you come here, you will have all your courses in English, and you will have a European adventure and learn the latest technologies. So it's a lot of work to come to Epitech, but it's also a lot of fun. There's a lot of different things you can do on your time off here. So what is Epitech and why are we so different from everyone else? So at Epitech, we don't have professors. And this is really surprising for students and colleagues to hear. How does the school even function without professors? Well, we have instructors who are all former Epitech students and who are have learned how to learn with us at Epitech, and who are familiar with the pedagogy, the system of learning, and who basically incite the students to be hands-on, self-motivated, and to be self-driven in their learning process. And so we emulate the professional environment essentially with the format of learning that we do here. So there, you're never going to be in a classroom with a professor telling you, reading from a book and telling you how to think and listing a bunch of things that you have to memorize. Instead, at Epitech, we will start out a module. So a module is a course for us. And the module includes a series of projects. And so you will receive the information for the project, and you'll know like what the goals are for the project, what types of technologies you're supposed to be learning during the project. And then you will have some time on your own to work on campus with the other students to figure out the answer and to come up with the code or the video game or the robot or whatever it is that you're working on in this module that addresses the problem that has been presented to you. After a couple of weeks, there's a check-in with the instructor, and the instructor ask you what you've been doing, ask you why you came to the solution the way you did it, and then points you in the right way. So they're not going to give you the answers, but they're going to ask you questions to make you think about why you did something the way you did and whether it was the most efficient and the most, current, the most technologically advanced thing that was appropriate for the problem at hand. Just like they do in startups or in the most innovative technological companies today. At the end of the module, you'll be asked to do a presentation. So like pitch your project to your group and sell it, just like you would have to do in a startup. So this is the cycle of each module. Something else, let's see, that I can tell you about is the C pool. So at Epitech, it's our innovative, it's one of the key modules at Epitech. The C pool in the first year is dedicated to the C language. And in the second year, it's dedicated to C++. And basically the pool is like a boot camp for software engineers, software developers. And you spend, all day on campus with a series of projects. You have to turn in a project every 24 hours. So it's really intense. And you as soon as the 24 hours are up, you have to start another project. So it's a great way to bond with the other students, with the other exchange students, and to really get into the whole environment of teaching yourself how to learn and how to keep abreast of the newest technologies. And there's a whole, it's a really nice environment because you're all kind of going through the same intense experience. So it's a really great way for the students to get to know each other really quickly, and the instructors and just everyone. So if you come in year one, you would take the C pool. You would also take introductory computer science courses. You could take a guided project, which is an independent project by yourself or with a group, and you get to choose the topic, whatever you'd like to do, and you are followed in that project by one of our instructors. And you get credit for that. And you could also take French language courses. So we offer French language courses for all of our international students. You don't have to speak French to come to Epitech, but it's nice to be able to speak French just to, like, ask where the bathroom is or order your lunch or whatever you'd like to do. So you can take French language courses. In year two, so year one and year three are offered in the fall and spring semester. Year two is offered in the spring semester only because of the structure of the year. But if you come in the spring, you could take year two, and that would be the C++ pool, or French language courses, and some other modules, like you could take artificial intelligence, for example, or DevOps or something like that. And that would be in year two. Then in year three, you have advanced computer science courses that are offered. You can still do the guided project, and you can also take French language courses. Year three is really for students who have an advanced level of computer science already, because since the methodology is so different here, most of the time it's really nice for students to take the first year program, because you're already having to adjust so much to the new style of learning that if you also have to have a really challenging, workload on top of that, it can be too much for some students. So a lot of students take the year one program. Here we have a couple of examples of different types of projects that students do. This is going to speak to you more than it will to me, because I'm not a software developer, but we have some examples of year one, and then we have year two projects such as Indie Studio. And in year three, we get into something that's more advanced, like reproduction of an Apache type web server. Essentially in year one, you get the basics of computer science and in fostering independence for this new methodology. In year two, you move a little bit more into design and into teamwork, because teamwork is going to be something that you'll need regardless of what type of position you get in software engineering in the future. And then in year three, we move into diversification and innovation, really thinking about how to best innovate, how to use the technologies that you've learned so far and address current problems in the world and solve them with computer science, with projects in information technology. So these are all startups that came from Epitech. So you might recognize some of them, or you might not, if it's more like a European startup, but these are actual startups from Epitech projects, founded by Epitech students that are now available in the world. So I like to show this because it's pretty cool to show, what our students can actually do. With the exchange student experience, so wherever you go, whichever campus you come to at Epitech, you will have a wide range of student associations that are possible to you. Cultural activities, obviously learning French as a foreign language. You have access to a sports club, and then you have personal support every step of the way. So I would say even more so if you come to Paris, because the international relations team is based here, and we do a lot of different things, outings. We did like a laser game activity this semester. The students did like a walking tour of Paris. They've gone to museums. We've done like a boat ride on the Seine together. So we do a lot of things. And we also connect the international students to the international like the kind of like the student club at Epitech that's for students who are interested in international things. So they connect with that group and really do a lot of things together. So it's great. You know, it's really difficult. It's challenging to come to school here, and it's not your typical Erasmus experience, because it is a lot of work. But once you get through that hard work in the very beginning, you'll have a little bit more time in the second half of your semester, and you'll really be able to have a lot of fun. And because of all the work that you've done with your group, you'll have these reinforced friendships with these other people from all over the world and French people, that will enrich the things that you'll be able to do, like traveling and cultural activities and everything like that. So yeah, so we do cultural activities in Paris, organized by the International Relations Office. You can see a picture of, like, there's a picnic by the Eiffel Tower. You can see the Louvre here, and then there's another picture of students. The bottom left was a trip to Mont Saint-Michel, which is up in the north of France. And there's like a beautiful abbey. And then there was also a trip to Disneyland Paris. So that's what you can see on the right. As far as applications, so we don't require much for the application. It's pretty straightforward. You just need to demonstrate that you have at least a B2 level in English. So that's intermediate level in English. We require a transcript in English and a complete application form. So that's just your basic information and a short paragraph about your experience in information technology. The deadline is for fall or full year program applications is April 15th, so it's coming up here. But we do accept late applications as long as we know about them in advance, you know, to a certain extent. For Brazilians, I know that the visa is quite difficult to obtain, so it's good not to apply too late, just so that you can get your visa to come here in time. But you can still apply for the fall semester for 2023. That's the same deadline for the full year program application. And then for the spring program application, you can apply by October 15th. There you go. So let's see, when you get here, we support you every step of the way. And this is really true. I've worked in other universities before where the welcome and the support was less individualized. And with Epitech, it's really, we're there for you guys from the beginning to the end. And we're able to do this because we have a smaller group of exchange students. It's usually around like 15 or 20 exchange students per year. So it's really individualized. So you get a free airport pickup when you arrive. We can pick you up at the airport and bring you to your apartment or wherever you would like to be dropped off. The first week there's a welcome meeting and there's orientation for you, with like food, and you meet the instructors and you meet us and buddies. There's administrative assistance. The International Relations Office is here to help you with anything that you need, whether it's housing or visa or how to open a bank or anything like that. We're there to help. And most of us are either not French, so we've gone through this for ourselves, or we've studied abroad before, so we know how difficult it is. So we're really, you know, this is like the heart of what we're doing. You know, we love to help you guys. And we have the one-on-one buddy program. So we arrange for you to have a French buddy who will stick with you and will help you learn all the ropes of the Epitech learning style. We have some suggestions for accommodation. So we don't have any residence halls with Epitech, and that's pretty standard for any French university. They don't tend to have residence halls, but we have a couple of things or several things that we can suggest. And so you see all of this here. It's also available on our website for international students. And I would be happy to send the presentation to Ricardo at the end of this so that he can, you know, make it available for you. Thanks, Ricardo. as far as cost of living goes at Epitech, so it can really vary according to the city. But if you come to Paris, it will be a little expensive. It's anywhere from 500 to 800 euros a month to live in Paris. And that's, more like a student budget, and maybe sharing an apartment with a roommate. But yeah, so around that. And it gets less expensive if you look in the suburbs versus if you look in downtown Paris. Same as in Rio de Janeiro, I think. And then as far as food goes, it's like 5 euros a meal at our school restaurant. But then it could be anywhere between 20 and 40 euros per person per week for groceries. Depends on how you do your groceries, if you're gonna be okay with eating pasta and cheaper things all the time, or if you'd like to buy more expensive things. And then the public transit is around 75 euros a month in Paris, but then it's it's 38 euros a month for students who are under 26. There's a special student deal. So really a great deal actually, because the public transit in Paris encompasses a huge span of area. So you can go, almost like to Normandy, which is where the beach is. You can really, it's not restricted just to Paris. And then you have an estimated cost of living for elsewhere, because as I said, elsewhere at our other campuses, it's a little bit less expensive. So we are located, the Paris campus is located just to the outside of Paris on the south side. So you see, we're really close to all of the attractions and the tourist things. Like you can see, well, everybody knows Notre Dame, I think, or like the Eiffel Tower. So we're southwest of that. And literally you walk 2 minutes and you cross this big interstate. There's a bridge over a big interstate and you're in Paris. There you go. So easy access by metro to everywhere, or a tramway. And you can see here's a picture of our Paris campus right here, which has a little courtyard. And in the summertime, it's really nice because there's lots of sun here and students can sit and eat their lunch and, get a little suntan. So it's a nice place to be. Okay, well, so that is it for me. I have my contact information here. You can reach me at the international-relations@epitech.eu. You have our website here as well, which includes all sorts of good information for exchange students. All of the information that I just talked about really is on that website as well. And then you can find us on Facebook or Instagram. And you can see on both of those, actually, you'll see some recent stories about international students and what they're doing here right now with us in Paris. So.
Okay. Thank you so much for this fantastic presentation. Actually, you have put everything I believe a student needs to know before thinking to go to Epitech. I had some questions. I was just ticking them. I say, okay, check. You covered pretty much everything. Was
good.
Perfect. Okay, just
good.
out of curiosity, because we work the same. We also offer Portuguese as a second language for students. So it means that you can have a student that is actually zero French and start taking French there, but you also can have an international student that wants to improve their French and be more advanced level and also take French classes, right?
Yeah, and we actually have right now the French professor is giving both classes. So he has 2 sections. He has like an intermediate, a beginning section for people who have zero prior knowledge. And then he has an intermediate section for students who have studied it a little bit and who would like to learn some more. So if you speak a little bit, you can still take the French lessons and there'll be something for you.
Okay, nice. That's great. And it was good because I actually learned a lot about Epitech myself. And we also have an incubator here at our university, and a lot of companies that are now in the market, they were incubated with us as well. Do you have any idea of the rate of success of the incubator? I mean, of the incubated companies that you usually have?
of the projects that are started at Epitech and that become startups?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great question. We don't track that right
Okay,
now, so
no problem.
I wouldn't be able to tell you, but we do see new success stories every year.
Fantastic.
We have the degree seeking students actually complete a like a end of degree project.
Mhm.
And it's a project with a group that addresses a current problem in society with a solution from information technology.
Mhm.
So it can be anything that they want. It can be an app or a robot or something else. And we see all sorts of things that address problems with like in healthcare or in transit or anything like that. And we actually have an event at towards the end of their last year where all the students come together and they get prizes, you know, for like the best project. And we have professionals in the sector that come. And so that's a really good event to make those connections and allow those students to turn it into, you know, a startup from that end of year project.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm satisfied. Thank you so much, Catherine, once again for
Thank
your
you for
kindness, your
inviting me.
time. Oh, it's really a pleasure. I don't know if you're coming. Okay. Okay.